Anthony Borquez here. I just wanted to introduce you here to my 2004 KTM EXC G Edition, which is the Enduro version that is in the US. There are a lot of these bikes out, and a lot of people are deciding to pick them up because they're fairly cheap. You can usually find them around $2,000, maybe a touch more, with some low hours, between 100 and 200 hours. With that said, a lot of people are converting these bikes to street legal versions, and multiple states have different rules, and I can go over that if you want me to. You can send me a comment in this video and I'll walk you through how that process works in most states. But one thing I did want to talk about was some of the things that I encountered personally in order to get this bike to street legal status, and some of the things that you might have questions about. Again, most of the work has already been done, and if you want some how-to, just go to comment what how-to you want me to explain, and I'll walk you right through it and do a video, some follow-up videos on it. So with that said, let me go ahead and show you what's been done so far. So as you can see, Tusk makes an Enduro kit, quite nice. Comes with the blinkers. It comes with the switch gear, so you got your off, low bright, high bright, your horn, which is very easily mounted, which I mounted right here in front of the radiator. You also have your blinker controls, and then there's some other stuff that I did, which I'll explain in a moment. You also get a tail section. Tail section also comes with blinkers and a place to mount your plate, and then all the wire and harness is all included. It's a little bit universal, but you can work it out. Now, if you guys want me to show you, I can walk you through that process, no problem. One thing I did also add was a keyed ignition. This is a must on this bike, because of the fact that, you know, if you're going to be driving on the street, you don't want your bike stolen. You can see obviously some of the parts, and again, if you have any questions, I can give you the links of how to get these parts on eBay. Very inexpensive. The ignition's like $6. This little plate right here, which had to be notched in order to fit, was also like $6 or $7. Very, very cheap. So it's very easy, very cool. Also, I did add, the Tusk kit does not come with a, I'll turn the light on here. Let's see if I can get it. You can see what I'm talking about here. This sensor here, which is for the front brake, does not come with the Tusk kit. You do get the rear sensor, which fits on right here. And if you, as you can see when you hit it, you get brakes. I added this sensor, and that also, again, you can squeeze it, and you can see rear brakes work. I mean, the brake lamp works in the rear. And then, of course, you have the full functionality of the blinkers and whatnot. I did leave the stock speedometer in there. It does work quite nice, so you actually don't really need to upgrade that. And then you can do as necessary with the headlights. I did do a full HID kit on the front. This is a universal kit. It was only $20, but it works a heck of a lot better than the standard bulb that is on these KTMs from the factory. It does replace most of the switch gear. It is a custom wire harness that I had to do on it, but it was so incredibly easy that I highly recommend it. And everything, of course, even with the ballast, fit behind, and it fits right behind the cowl right here. So again, it is completely possible. It's not a big deal, really easy. Also, with that said, the bike will not start unless the ignition's on. So we turn the ignition on. So it's actually quite cool, because that saves you from your bike getting stolen. I mean, it's not a crazy wiring situation. It's fairly easy. Takes the kill button away on the other side. Again, I left the hot start. The recommendation is to have the hammerhead cover here. I will be adding another hammerhead cover on the other side for the Brembo brakes, because these tend to get broken if you flip the end of the bike over. All right, so now we'll move to what we've done to the engine here. These engines tend to have some problems with the heads, and something I haven't done on this bike, but I will, and I will walk you guys through that if you guys want me to put that video on, is basically how to replace the valves on this. Clean up the head and replace the valves. The intake valves are very soft on this and the seats, and they tend to collapse basically. So you're going to find that when you go to do a valve adjustment on this bike, which also I can show you how, if you guys want to request it, put it in the comments. It basically tells you how to adjust the valves, and also how to tell if your intake valves have sinking in. They mushroom in to the head. It's not the end of the world. Generally, you can still probably get about 200 hours out of the motor, even with the valves sunken in a little bit. You just got to make sure you adjust your valves every 15-20 hours. Very easy process. I can walk you guys through that. Your air box, these tend to come loose, kind of a pain in the butt. I do recommend putting just a small screw in the corner here, and that just keeps it from popping out when you're riding. Make sure if your bike is equipped with a kickstand that you have your little rubber doodad here to prevent that kickstand from coming down when you're going down the road. I did have to add this one on because this bike, unfortunately, was endoed and they broke the kickstand off, so I went ahead and did that. You want to keep the motor clean. You have multiple filters here. You want to make sure that you're able to get to those filters and you can see if there's leaks or whatnot. So you got to make sure this whole area stays clean. And then if you don't have it, add protection for your master cylinder, your actuator for your clutch. Always recommend having skid plates on these bikes. Again, they're very vulnerable. You have a magnesium case that's very expensive to replace and will crack if it's hit hard enough. So make sure, guys, don't take chances. Make sure have a cover on that. You can run a regular standard chain or O-ring chain. I highly recommend the O-ring chain if you're going to be going on road, because it's just lasts longer. It's not going to cause the problems. This bike does have a Bog Spot, and carburetor, a absolute must is to get a kit from Dynojet, and they walk you through very easily how to jet this carburetor. Again, if you guys want me to show you how, just ask for in the comments and I will show you. It's a very easy process, and one of the things you should also do when you do this is actually, and you probably can't see it because this video is not doing so well with the brightness. Let me grab a flashlight here and I can show you to have a screw that you can easily, a fuel screw that you can do by hand, because the stock one is nearly impossible to get to. So I'm sorry, this helps out a whole bunch. So you can see right in there, that's the fuel screw. You can see exactly where you're at and adjust it as necessary. If your bike has been sitting, make sure before you start it, you do drain all the fuel out of it and drain the fluids. These do run a pressurized cap, just like every KTM. Unfortunately, it is a very not so efficient system. Basically, if you don't mod this, it will dump on the floor, which is bad when you're sitting in traffic. So you'll see there's a hose in here. I actually have a custom kit that runs below the tank, into the back, into a reservoir that sits behind this fender here. Again, if you want me to show you how to install that, just go ahead and put a comment in there. I will show you how that process is. It's very, very easy. It is not complicated, and it costs about $30. And don't go spending all that money with these other companies that charge a lot more to do it. Another must is the fan kit, and you can kind of see the fan up in there. It's already been installed, and I can walk you through that if you want. But basically it works off a sensor here, and this is an original KTM part kit. They are available for about $125, but it is a lifesaver if you're going to be sitting in traffic at all. Highly recommended, very easy to install. You can kind of see it from the top there too. Automatically kicks on, and it plugs right into the stock wiring harness. So there's not a whole lot involved. Not a lot of complicated things to do there. If you want to, a lot of these pipes, they rust. Steel wool, very easy, clean it up, make it look nice. KTMs like to rust in general if they're left outside or where any moisture is. My recommendation is to use some Marvel Mystery Oil and put it on the parts that might have some rust on them. Leave it overnight and just make them damp with it. And in the morning, you just go ahead and wipe that off with some steel wool, clean it up, dress it up. It won't, that rust will be dead and you won't have that problem anymore. So again, if you have any questions or concerns or anything about any of the things I've done to my bike here, or maybe you're thinking about doing and you need some help with, I'm more than happy to help you, and I will be waiting for some comments here. You let me know what you want me to put on and I will oblige you. Thank you and have a great day.